In Sword Art Online, Kirito is constantly surrounded by female characters, and while many joke about him having a harem, there's actually a lot more depth to each girl than what meets the eye. Each girl represents a different kind of emotional connection. These relationships are not copies of each other, they grow from different moments, different struggles, and different needs. When you look closely, each love interest reflects a specific type of bond: admiration, forbidden feelings, trauma bonding, devotion, infatuation, and soulmate level love. Understanding these categories helps us see how the story builds emotional depth rather than just romance drama. Alright, let's start with Silica. The best way to describe this love interest is admiration. Now just to clarify, this is a one-sided love interest. Kirito has no romantic feelings for her because she is quite a bit younger than him, and he states that she reminds him of his little sister. Just thought it was important to get that out of the way. Now Silica's feelings are rooted in hero worship. When she meets Kirito, she is younger, less experienced, and emotionally shaken from losing Pina. Kirito steps in as a protector. He teaches her important survival lessons, helps her gain confidence, and shows her kindness without expecting anything in return. From Silica's point of view, he is brave, skilled, calm under pressure, and dependable. That combination naturally inspires admiration. However, admiration is not the same as deep romantic love. It often forms when one person sees another as larger than life. Silica's feelings are built on gratitude and inspiration. She looks up to him more than she stands beside him as an equal. This is why her connection feels innocent and youthful. It reflects the kind of crush that grows out of being saved, not out of shared life experience. It is pure, but it does not carry the emotional weight of a long-term partnership. Alright, next up we got Sugu, also known as Lifa, who is Kirito's real-life cousin. This is definitely the most complicated and controversial love interest dynamic in this video. The best way to describe this love interest is forbidden love. And once again, this is a one-sided love interest. Kirito has no romantic feelings for Sugu. Now, Kirito grew up believing that Sugu was his little sister, but one day found out that she is actually his little cousin. This realization made Kirito emotionally and physically distance himself from her because he felt like he didn't know who she truly was and was feeling disconnected. This hurt Sugu emotionally, and when Kirito beat Sword Art Online and woke back up in the real world after being stuck in SAO for 2 years and began talking to her like he used to, this makes her develop romantic feelings for him, which the deeper reason for why she's having these feelings is because of her fear of being pushed away again. This causes her the need to be as close to him as she can. Her love is not built on fantasy or hero worship, it's from her loneliness during his time trapped in SAO, and confusion about her own heart. What makes Sugu's character complex isn't just the romantic feelings she has, but the internal conflict that she is forced to confront. Sugu knows her feelings are wrong and could create more distance between her and Kirito, and that struggle really defines her arc. Her love is painful because it is unreturned and morally complicated, and it forces her to mature and accept rejection. Her story is less about trying to win Kirito, and more about trying to learn how to move forward when love cannot happen. Alright, next up we got Sinon. The best way to describe this love interest is trauma bonding. Sinon's story is shaped by childhood trauma after she was forced into a life-threatening situation involving a gun. That experience leaves her with deep fear and anxiety. Kirito, who also carries trauma from surviving death games, understands her in a way few others can. Trauma bonding does not mean unhealthy obsession. In this case, it means two people connecting because they recognize each other's wounds. Kirito does not save Sinon in the way he saves Silica. Instead, he stands beside her while she confronts her fear. He shares his own struggles, including guilt over people who died in the game, and that vulnerability builds trust. Their connection feels intense because it deals with real psychological scars. However, it does not evolve into romantic love. Instead, it's a mutual respect and emotional healing. It's a friendship type of love where they deeply care about each other as people, but just not in a romantic way. Sinon represents growth through understanding. She shows that sometimes the strongest bonds come from facing darkness together rather than from falling in love. Alright, next up we got Alice. The best way to describe this love interest is devotion. Alice's story is shaped by duty, honor, and sacrifice. She is not someone who falls for Kirito because he saves her once. Instead, she spends long periods with him during the Alicization arc, including times when he is physically and mentally vulnerable. She protects him when he cannot protect himself. That shift in power is important. Unlike Silica, who looks up to him, Alice often stands as his equal or even his guardian in a way. Devotion means loyalty combined with emotional commitment. Alice believes in Kirito's ideals. She respects his strength but also sees his weaknesses. Her feelings grow quietly. They are restrained, mature, and built on shared battle experiences. There is tension in their connection, but it is controlled. She never tries to take Asuna's place. Instead, her devotion feels noble and tragic. She represents a love that is deep but unfulfilled. It is based on respect and shared hardship rather than youthful excitement. Obviously, Kirito is already dating Asuna, but I could definitely see these two together if he wasn't already with Asuna. Alright, next up we got Lisbeth. The best way I can describe this love interest is infatuation, basically implying that it's a short but meaningful connection. Their bond forms on a single adventure where they rely on each other to survive. Lisbeth sees a side of Kirito that others do not often see, which is vulnerability and quiet honesty. That moment sparks strong feelings in her. Infatuation is intense but brief attraction. It feels powerful in the moment, but it does not always last. Lisbeth's feelings are real. They are not shallow. However, they are formed quickly under high-stress conditions. Their love was more so built around trying to find the connection and meaning that they had been missing while being stuck inside a cold and empty world. And when Lisbeth realizes Kirito has already chosen Asuna, she doesn't get mad. She instead accepts it with grace. That acceptance is important because it shows emotional maturity. Lisbeth's love represents the what-if scenario, and it reminds viewers that timing matters in relationships. Sometimes two people connect deeply, but circumstances prevent that connection from growing into something permanent. And finally, what you have all been waiting for. We got Asuna. The only way to describe this love interest is soulmate love. This defines Kirito's relationship with Asuna perfectly. Asuna is not just another girl in the story, she is the emotional core of Kirito's life. Their relationship grows slowly through shared survival in the death game. They fight side by side, they argue, they comfort each other, they build trust over time. Soulmate love is not about perfection, it is about choosing each other again and again. Asuna challenges Kirito. She calls him out when he isolates himself, and she pushes him to rely on others. In return, he supports her dreams and respects her strength. Their connection includes romance, partnership, friendship, and family. They even create a temporary home together inside the game, which symbolizes their desire for normal life in a broken world. Unlike the other relationships, this one is clearly mutual and intentional. When we step back and look at these dynamics together, we can see that each girl reflects a different emotional theme. Silica shows admiration and youthful innocence. Sugu shows forbidden and conflicted love. Sinon represents healing through shared trauma. Alice embodies devotion built through loyalty and respect. Lisbeth highlights infatuation and mistiming. Asuna stands as true soulmate love built on equality and long-term commitment. None of these relationships are random. Each one reveals a different side of Kirito's character. Through admiration, we see him as a hero. Through trauma bonding, we see his vulnerability. Through devotion, we see his worth as a leader. Through infatuation, we see his humanity. Through soulmate love, we see his capacity for deep, lasting connection. That is why the love interests in Sword Art Online are more than just a harem trope. They are emotional mirrors. They reflect different ways people connect under extreme circumstances. Survival changes relationships, fear accelerates feelings, shared danger creates intensity, but only one relationship grows beyond circumstance and into lasting partnership. And that difference is what makes the emotional structure of the series stronger than it first appears. In the end, each love interest represents a stage or type of connection people experience in real life. Admiration is often the first spark, infatuation comes quickly and burns bright, devotion forms through shared struggle, trauma bonding creates understanding, soulmate love requires time, trust, and choice. By giving Kirito these different relationships, the story explores what love looks like under pressure. It shows that not all feelings are meant to become forever, some are meant to shape you, teach you, and help you grow. But yeah, I really enjoyed making this video. I know people hate on TV shows that have harem tropes in them, and a lot of the time it's understandable, but in this case I feel like it's completely valid and actually adds to the story. Anyways, that was the video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you made it this far, please be sure to like and subscribe. But yeah, that's all I got. Peace.